You know that feeling when a sports team has a truly rough season
Hmm.
and all eyes immediately turn to the future, just desperately hoping for some kind of game-changing
Well,
shift?
absolutely. Yeah.
If you've been following the NFL, you'll recognize that exact feeling when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. After a really disappointing 4-13 record last season, which, let's face it, was the second worst in the entire league, there's this palpable sense that a major comeback isn't just hoped for,
Yeah.
it's absolutely essential for the team, for the fans.
Indeed. And the roadmap for that comeback, well, it almost always does in pro football. It runs directly through the team's quarterback and,
Hmm.
the emerging talent around him. It's not just about individual skill. It's about how those pieces connect. It really
Right.
is.
So today we're going to take a deep dive into something that feels incredibly critical for the Jaguars' immediate future. The rapidly building chemistry between their star quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, and the much-hyped rookie two-way phenom, Travis Hunter. Our mission is really to unpack this foundational relationship, understand Lawrence's determined journey back from injury, get a clear sense of Hunter's early development in what's a truly unique role, and then explore what all of this means for the Jaguars' hopes as we look ahead to the pivotal 2025 season.
And our insights today, they're drawn from a really illuminating Athron sports article originally featured on Yardbarker. It pulls together observations from sportscasters who are, embedded with the team, offering a real ground-level perspective on things.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our first major focus. Trevor Lawrence himself and his road back from what was, by all accounts, just an incredibly challenging 2024 season. He faced some significant hurdles, didn't he?
He absolutely did. Lawrence was seriously hampered by injuries, which severely limited him to just 10 games. What's particularly concerning and really speaks to the disruption he faced is that he actually missed 7 of his last 8 games in the latter half of the season.
Wow, 7 of 8.
Yeah, that's a staggering amount of time for any starting QB to be off the field. And it undeniably fractured his rhythm and the team's continuity precisely when, they needed it most.
And these weren't just like minor nicks and bruises we're talking about. These were significant game-altering injuries. What exactly sidelined him for such a crucial stretch?
Well, his troubles really began with a serious blow to his left shoulder in that Week 9 clash against the Eagles. Thankfully, that's his non-throwing shoulder, but any hit that impacts a quarterback's ability to absorb contact or maintain balance, it can throw off their entire rhythm.
Yeah.
And we saw moments where he just wasn't quite as comfortable. Then, just 2 weeks after returning, he suffered a concussion in the second quarter.
Right.
That concussion ultimately put him on injured reserve, and he didn't play again for the rest of the season. And for a quarterback, concussion isn't just about missing games. It's that critical cognitive recovery period afterwards. Regaining that split-second decision-making, processing defensive reads under pressure, that can be the slowest part.
Yeah, absolutely. So the obvious urgent question for every Jaguars fan is his recovery. How is he doing now, and what's the outlook for him being ready to go in 2025?
Well, according to sportscaster Sarah Walsh, who discussed it on NFL Network's The Insiders, Lawrence himself certainly feels he'll be able to suit up for the first game of the 2025 season. He had surgery back in December, had a significant period of recovery, 4 months off from throwing. So the optimism is clearly there from his end.
Okay.
And that's a huge psychological boost for the team.
That's incredibly encouraging news, and it sounds like he hasn't just been rehabbing physically, he's also been actively refining his game during this time. What kind of subtle things has he been working on this offseason besides just getting healthy?
Yeah, he specifically mentioned making improvements to his footwork, clarifying that these weren't major overhauls, but rather subtle, targeted refinements. Think of it like fine-tuning his internal GPS for navigating the pocket. But what's even more fascinating, and frankly a bit advanced, is that he's also been working on using his eyes as a weapon against the defense. This is a technique he apparently picked up from extensive video study watching other elite quarterbacks.
Using his eyes as a weapon. That phrase really jumped out at me. It speaks to a whole different dimension of quarterback play, doesn't it? Can you break down what that actually looks like on the field? I mean, how does a quarterback literally use their eyes against a defense?
Absolutely. And this is high-level QB play, right? Where the mental game is just as important as the physical talent. Essentially, Lawrence might say, deliberately stare down a receiver on one side of the field, maybe hold a safety or a cornerback in place, or even draw them slightly out of position. Then in a blink, he'll quickly snap his eyes and throw to an open target on the opposite side, or maybe a different receiver in another part of the play entirely. It's all about manipulating the defender's instincts, creating throwing lanes that, weren't there a fraction of a second before.
Like a mental chess match?
Exactly. It buys in precious time, can unlock deep plays. It's really sophisticated
Oh,
stuff.
that specific detail adds so much depth. So, what does this commitment to refinement to recovery mean for the Jaguars, especially as he enters his fifth season? The significance of a healthy and refined Trevor Lawrence aiming for his second postseason berth feels absolutely critical for the team's whole trajectory. You're looking at the foundational piece right there.
It's paramount. I
Yeah.
mean, consider that in today's NFL, a quarterback's ability to, like you said, manipulate the pocket with those subtle footwork tweaks and hold defenders with their eyes, that often creates an extra half second for a play to develop.
Right. That half second is everything.
It really is. For Lawrence, who's been under pressure quite a bit, often had to rush throws due to injury or maybe O-line issues, this isn't just refinement. It's about buying that time to fully execute plays, particularly the deep ball, which often felt rushed last season. This shift could honestly be the difference between a stalled drive and a touchdown. It shows a player committed not just to recovery, but to continuous improvement. That's what you see in elite performers. His ability to lift the team up is directly tied to his health and these kinds of strategic refinements.
And that relentless drive to elevate the team is precisely why the arrival of Travis Hunter has sparked such, well, immense excitement. He's another pivotal piece in this equation, isn't he?
He certainly is. Travis Hunter is joining the Jags as a rookie two-way star, and he recently signed this historic deal with the team. For anyone listening who follows football closely, you understand how rare a true two-way player is in the modern NFL. Maybe Deion Sanders is the last big example.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hunter's ability to contribute significantly on both offense as a receiver and defense as a cornerback. It signals a new, dynamic era for Jacksonville. It immediately adds this unpredictable element that defenses will have to account for.
A two-way star, truly unique these days. What have been Trevor Lawrence's early impressions of Hunter? Especially knowing how crucial that QB-receiver relationship is, like, from day one.
Well, Lawrence has already observed that Hunter has grown tremendously just during this offseason, which is a fantastic sign, right? Shows his adaptability, his work ethic.
Definitely.
However, Lawrence also added a crucial bit of nuance, noting that Hunter needs time to get his mind right and reset a little bit. He explained this by saying Hunter has had so much thrown at him.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Hunter isn't just transitioning to the NFL, he's doing it in two distinct high-pressure roles, learning two playbooks, two sets of techniques, and dealing with the massive media scrutiny that comes with being such a rare talent. It's a candid observation about the immense mental and physical load.
That's a really good point. He's coming into the league with huge expectations and this very unique, demanding role. But Hunter isn't the only exciting piece on offense, right? The Jaguars are clearly trying to give Lawrence more weapons to work with.
Not at all. Brian Thomas Jr. is another key player. He's the receiver who basically rewrote the Jaguars' rookie record books last season, which tells you about his immediate impact and, importantly, the chemistry he already has with Lawrence.
Yeah, that connection is already there.
Exactly. And beyond those two dynamic playmakers, the Jags have also made other strategic additions. They brought in Eric Murray, a veteran safety leadership, coverage experience in the secondary, and crucially, Patrick McCarry and Robert Hainsey to reinforce the offensive line.
Yes, protection.
Protecting Lawrence, especially after last season, is paramount. So shoring up the trenches is just as critical as adding those shiny new receiving weapons. Got to give them time to operate.
So we're seeing a very concerted, multi-pronged effort here to build around Lawrence. How do these strategic additions, the continued growth of someone like Thomas Jr. and the emergence of new talent like Hunter, how does it all fit into the bigger picture for the Jaguars, especially after what felt like a rebuilding year?
Well, it raises an interesting question about team construction, right, and resource allocation. What's fascinating here is it's not just about getting talent, but getting complementary talent that fits a specific vision.
Okay.
Thomas Jr. gives Lawrence that proven deep threat, a reliable target he already trusts. Hunter, with two-way ability, adds this unprecedented dynamic layer. Opposing defenses will have to account for him in every single game plan.
A nightmare for defensive coordinators, I bet.
Totally. Then, the additions of Murray, McCarry, Hainsey. That speaks to shoring up other critical areas. It shows a holistic approach to building a genuinely competitive team. It's about giving Lawrence the weapons and, just as importantly, the protection he needs, plus ensuring they have depth to withstand the grind of an NFL season. It feels like a comprehensive approach.
And that brings us right to the core of this deep dive. The deliberate, proactive steps being taken to specifically build that chemistry between Lawrence and Hunter. It's not just being left to chance, like hoping it happens organically. It's an active, intentional initiative.
Precisely. Lawrence himself has been very direct about it. He stated that he intends to spend quite a bit of time with Hunter in the next couple of weeks. This isn't just a casual mention. It's a specific public commitment from your franchise quarterback that sends a clear message.
Absolutely. And what are the primary objectives of this dedicated time together? What are they specifically working on when they get together beyond just, running routes?
Well, the two main objectives are twofold: working on precise timing and thoroughly going over the new system. Lawrence knows that for them to be truly effective in game situations, they need to be on the exact same page. Every route, every read, every adjustment.
That timing is everything.
It's absolutely crucial in football, especially QB to receiver. A split second off can be the difference between a huge play and a turnover. And mastering new system, that takes more than just memorization. It needs that intuitive understanding that only comes from reps and focused discussion.
Makes perfect sense. That QB receiver chemistry is built on countless reps. That shared understanding, almost a nonverbal thing. But it's not just about Hunter adapting to their system, is it? Lawrence made a really interesting and I think crucial point about this new system.
He did, and it's a critical detail for understanding the whole team dynamic right now. Lawrence underscored that this new system is not just new to Hunter, it's really new to everyone on the offense.
Ah, okay. So everyone's learning.
Exactly. It highlights that the challenge of adapting new plays, new schemes, new terminology is a collective one for the entire squad, not just the rookies or the new guys. And actually, that shared learning experience can be a powerful team-building tool in itself. Everyone's in it together, working through the complexities.
So when you consider that everyone is learning this new system, why is this focused one-on-one chemistry building between Lawrence and Hunter still so vital? It feels like it goes beyond just X's and O's. It speaks to something maybe deeper about effective teamwork in, a high-stakes environment like the NFL.
Yet if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really underscores the critical importance of those foundational relationships within any complex, high-performance system. In football, like we said, that precise timing and mutual understanding between a QB and his primary targets, it can literally be the difference between winning and losing plays.
Right.
So when everyone is learning a new system, those individualized, intense sessions between the quarterback and his most dynamic playmakers ensure that the most critical connections, the ones that directly dictate offensive success, are solidified quickly. It builds trust and instinct where it matters most. It kind of allows the whole offensive system to function more smoothly as everyone else catches up. It's about establishing that core before you expand outward.
That's a fantastic point. Investing in those key individual connections really can uplift the entire team's performance. So to bring it all together then, the Jacksonville Jaguars are clearly banking on several interconnected factors to fuel their comeback. Trevor Lawrence's determined recovery and refined skills, Travis Hunter's promising growth as this rare two-way player, and perhaps most importantly, their deliberate, proactive efforts to build that critical on-field chemistry.
Absolutely. After a challenging season, you can feel it. Jaguars fans are placing a tremendous amount of hope on this developing Lawrence-Hunter duo. They believe this combination, coupled with the other additions in the new system, will provide the firepower and the cohesion necessary to truly turn things around in 2025. Get back to contending for the postseason.
And that brings us to our final thought for you, the listener. Beyond the football field, what does this direct, proactive approach to building professional chemistry and adapting to new team-wide systems? What does it tell us about effective teamwork and leadership in any high-stakes environment? Think about it. How might this focused method of collaboration, this intentional effort to get key players on the same page, master a new way of operating, how might that translate to your own professional life or even personal pursuits, especially when you're facing a new challenge or working with new people? It's definitely something to mull over long after the whistle blows.